Pressure is on for Soar, and we had them basically taking it, but it's time for game 2. Picks and bans are kicking off, folks. We're jumping right into it. Ain't no waiting now. And we're gonna start with a Soar ban here, and they're gonna get rid of the Zeus yet again.
Yeah, I mean, I can pretty much expect the same kind of bans to be coming out from Soar. I don't really think that the banning stage was really the issue for them, so much as it was just they weren't really prepared for that healing composition. And I still think that Zeus and Jingwei are really safe picks, because you don't want to let PrettyPriMe and Ataraxia get comfort picks.
I really enjoyed that Raw ban coming out from Obey. They recognized that the Raw was such a crucial part of their win, and because Soar has that option to grab it first, they're like, you know what, he's probably going to look to grab our Raw, take it off the board so they can't get the healing that made us win the previous game.
I mean, Metyankey's already had a great display on Raw, so if you can go ahead and just take it away, and nobody gets to play it, then I think that's a pretty safe choice to go with. And again, they're going with the Jingwei Zeus bans, so I wouldn't be surprised to see Soar opting for that Thor pick again, because, or even like a Nemesis, like we brought up previously. Andinster does like to play those, and I think it's pretty safe for them overall.
The Thor wasn't so strong for them. I was about to say they're probably going to look for the Sylvanus pick.
Yeah.
It was the last real healer on the board. Jigz extremely comfortable with this god, and like we talked about earlier with the Ra, he brings that team fight situation where afterwards you poke people out and you heal back up. Poke people out, heal back up, and now if they want to try to get that same amount of healing on the team, they're going to have to lean towards the Guan, which really nobody's picking up this tournament.
At the same time, though, Obey isn't foreign to playing Odin, so I wouldn't be surprised to see them potentially opt for an Odin pick later on in their draft to try and potentially deal with that Sylvanus and the healing composition that'll most likely be coming out from Soar. They really like the Nike, though. I think that it's just a pick that they feel super comfortable on and being able to flex it.
I mean, at this point, they're not losing with it, right? It's working every single time. I'm not sure about the priority of them having to get it this early. No other team seems to have talked about needing to get that, that Nike on the board. But we see the Vulcan come out for PrettyPriMe. He's been saving this one. He's been waiting for it. Zeus and Ra off the table. He's going back to his roots.
The Vulcan King rises, but over on the other side, though, they're going to lock down Thor once again. This is an Andinster pick. We know that this is what he wants. He's comfortable with it. Hopefully this time he can execute the way that he wants to, not get first blooded.
Although I do think that it's going to be a little bit more difficult this game for Andy, honestly, when he's trying to dunk down on a Vulcan, because Vulcan actually has a lot of self-pill potential. I feel like that's a really safe mid laner for him to go with, and that he's going to have a lot of kiting potential. And Scylla coming out on the side of Soar for Metyankey, which I really like Scylla with Sylvanus.
I love Scylla. She's probably my favorite mid lane god right now. Incredibly strong. We saw a couple patches ago when she got that buff to her crush, she became so much stronger in the meta. Her early game basically all of a sudden became incredibly strong. Her only weak part of the game became a strong point of her game. And with all the setup from Thor and Sylvanus, the second Scylla gets level 5, there can be destruction on the other side of the map.
But Khepri coming out on the side of Obey, which could provide a lot of issues for Soar. We already saw PANDALIKE in the previous game doing an excellent job utilizing his Khepri ults effectively. And I feel like even more for Soar, it would be a bigger issue because they have a lot of bursts coming out from their comp, and Khepri is pretty much the anti-burst god.
I love that Khepri pick. It's basically a shout out immediately to Scylla. It's one of the most annoying Guardians to go against Scylla because your ultimate will not get the reset if you kill somebody while the Khepri ult is on them. And being able to take that massive ultimate ability away from Scylla is incredibly hard for her to deal with.
Yeah, it really slows down any kind of carry potential if the Scylla isn't able to, play around that ultimate. And so, I mean, you could see Obey and Soar, though, both opting to try and take away some of these solo lane picks. Obey immediately with the Bologna and Vamana bans, they're really not trying to deal with these two from Baskin's God Pool.
It's interesting that neither of these teams kind of opted to grab their solo laner, knowing that those solo lane bans had been coming through. Scylla, hasn't been banned at all this tournament. You probably could have waited to pick that and grab your solo laner, but now that 3 are off the board, it's going to be a lot harder to get a priority pick.
I'm still expecting a ADC pick to come out. We could potentially see Ataraxia try to run this Izanami, and it wouldn't be very much of a surprise to see him on it because it is a god that he feels super comfortable with.
Or the Chiron.
Or the Chiron.
Just to spite you. One or the other. And make King Khan happy.
I mean, he could potentially be, okay, yeah, well, now that's the Spitas right there. That's Ataraxia having some fun, I think. I can't expect an AMC to be coming out this early
We
in the
hope it's him
competition.
having some fun.
So, I mean, you never really know what to expect with this guy.
He's such a crowd pleaser. He's such a crowd pleaser.
But no, I think he already showed us what his heart really desires, and it's the Chronos this time
The
around.
crowd goes, boo, not AMC. No, but Chronos is going to be a very strong pick. Opting for those late game carries a little bit different than the normal Ataraxia that we've seen. Going for Freya, Chronos now. These characters that want to farm just a little bit more in the early game so they can carry extremely hard as they move into the mid and late game.
And I'm kind of expecting Snoopy to go with a high-pressure ADC.
Oh,
and
okay.
Izanami, I am not particularly keen of Izanami in the dual lane, but I think that it would actually be an excellent pairing here to deal with the Chronos because she does have that stealth potential to sneak in on Ataraxia, on Chronos, and get a surprise kill and make him burn his ultimate before really utilizing his kit on him.
It also pairs quite well with Sylvanus. Sylvanus has such strong clear. Izanami has such strong clear. It's going to mean your dual lane has so much pressure around the map. He's going to be able to wander. Your support can wander wherever he wants to because your Izanami is going to be just fine in the lane, particularly against the Chronos.
I do like the Kama pick coming out, though, on the side of Obey, because the mark ability that Kama has will actually be pretty effective against that Izanami.
All right, guys. Well, it's been locked in. Will Obey win this one 2-0, or could Soar force this 3-game run here?
Considering Obey's past performances, I think I would have to give him this game.
Oh, okay.
Once again, I like Soar's comp better than I like Obey's, but with the way Obey has been playing, they're looking unstoppable, so I give it to Obey.
All right, well, it seems like now they flip-flopped over here, and they're all Obey. Before they were Soar. What is this madness? Casters, over to you.
The momentum is definitely with the Obey Alliance heading into this game, and PrettyPrime's on Vulcan.
Yes, and we heard the crowd just gave their cheers and their roars once that pick was locked in. I'm really excited to see what he's going to be doing with this Vulcan because we saw the Titan Vulcan skin was made after him.
Yeah, the Vulcan, you know, I can't say much about that one, but once again, Obey went with the tank meta.
I am excited to see Metyankey on the Scylla, however, a bit more of a burst mage, a little bit more team fight potential necessarily than like a Janus.
He has the setup from the Thor, from the Sylvanus. He's going to be in the right position at the right time. He has a great escape as well. And I'm really excited more than the Scylla is the Camazotz coming out of Obey Alliance. We actually see it that it is going to be in the solo lane for variety. And I like this idea because the whole point of this matchup is to poke out Amaterasu before she gets more sustained from her stance switching aura.
Yeah, and with the Scylla pick, they have so much. They have so many stuns, so much CC, you know, to set up and ready, you know, to get the secure damage.
Soar, though, and Obey, 5-on-5. They grouped up on opposite sides of the map. Both of them think that they can win a little grouping at level 1, so it would have been really exciting to see if they went on the same side. Who do you think would have won this 5-on-5?
I feel like Obey would have won that 5v5. They have the damage early game. They have the Nike as well. Nike's damage early game is really undervalued, I feel like.
I think one good stun from Ataraxia would have really toppled that encounter. So it's actually probably a good idea that Sword did not run into them there.
And they've actually got a couple of knockups as well with Prime and CaptainTwig.
It's going to be interesting to see how this develops, though, because we're seeing more and more of this style where Jigz is rotating to the right-hand side, but now, this time around, PANDALIKE is starting to start off on the left.
Look where Twig is, though. He's at Soar's blue buff behind them, while Soar's going for the invade on the speed here. Variety's there all alone. He's just going to give it up. Twig's going for their speed buff now because he knows they're not there.
And that's fine, because there's going to be able to trade speed for speed. The Wrath was used, and then we see the left-hand side for the dual lane, though, still getting off into a great start.
I feel like Obey knew that they were going to invade this game. They're one game down. They need something. They need something to get back into this set.
And they wanted to start off on the left-hand side with PANDALIKE. They didn't even want to bother contesting the invade, but now PANDALIKE, they'll start in a little awkward position, taking a little bit of poke the root, not on the mark, but the crush, poking him out. Oh, living with like 40 or 50 health there.
Baskin pressured out in the solo lane as Twig is here helping Variety out. Blue buffs, both of them are still down. They're going for the early camps instead. Right-hand side mid camp's going to fall away. I saw a good amount of XP and gold for them.
Left-hand side, though, Snoopy trying to invade these boars, though, but Ataraxia here gets the stun, confirms one of the boars, and now trying to trade off, but Ataraxia, though, not in a good position until the Khepri comes, and Snoopy, though, running away. He's revealed from the stealth. Can he run?
The shoes of focus!
The shoes of focus there from Ataraxia. I think what you're trying to say, he's got the movement speed there to catch up to the Izanami, who has no boots at all.
Amazing performance. Yet again, PandaLike still hugging Ataraxia in the duel lane. And now with that, Snoopy is going to be struggling.
Yeah, Snoopy played aggressive there again when he should have known that Khepri was going to rotate. Chronos not to, you know, get the early pressure in the duel lane.
So, like, as a hunter mindset, like, you clear the wave first, and this early on, you don't have your red buff, you don't have your boars, back card piece is too far away at that point in time, so, like, do you just, like, sit in the jungle and wait for the next wave, or what do you do?
If I was Ataraxia at that point and Snoopy didn't go for the invade, I would have told PandaLike to rotate, come for the harpies. I have the, you know, you have the movement speed. Early game movement speed is a big factor if you can rotate or if you can recall and do something.
So now the difference between the last game and this one for Ataraxia is he was playing the Freya, the mid to late game Freya, but Chronos still has his potential later game, but in the earlier game, he could also play aggressive, and again, Snoopy playing the Izanami. I'm expecting more of these little 1v1 skirmishes going on there.
Rotation there to the right side from Soar, just spotting out if the early camps were down or not. Rotation back to the mid lane from Jigz and from Metyankey. Variety fighting here with Baskin. Baskin winning the trade, but PandaLike's here. So many rotations out of support. Baskin's in trouble now. No ultimate available from him. Variety lands the hit, but the hand of the gods, the wrath coming out from Baskin, enough to save him.
And that's what you have to do. If you have that relic and you're not going to utilize it to invade, you might as well use it to save your life there. But now we see a little skirmish for those gremlins going slightly in the favor of Soar. PandaLike, though, could still look for an engage against Jigz that doesn't have an escape. And he's not level 5 yet, but the pull into the Ama Monster.
Metyankey in a little bit of trouble now, though, after that ultimate's come down. The crush comes through. PandaLike low. He's not level 5 yet, doesn't have the revive, but Mr. Vulcan, PrettyPriMe picks up the kill.
And more importantly was Variety's rotation just to get off the damage to allow PrettyPriMe to get that last important hit off. It's so unfortunate, though, that Jigz was still only level 4 for that encounter.
PandaLike is usually known to be super aggressive early game. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. In this game, especially this game, it's been working out perfectly. He ganked Snoopy. Snoopy was playing over aggressive, and then he ganked Baskin, forced a wrath.
It just seems like he's all over the place. This is a slightly different PandaLike than I'm normally used to seeing because, like you mentioned before, he's usually in the front line, but he's not going to hesitate just to be able to look for these small little encounters, helping out his teammates, whether it's on the left, right, or middle. And now as a result, Obey with a 2-kill lead. About 700 gold right now, heading into the 4-minute mark.
And importantly as well, a lot of these buff camps are still being stolen away by Obey. We saw Twig just go in and solo the speed buff there. Andinster yet again without that buff.
And more importantly now in the solo lane matchup, we're going to see a little bit of a disparity because as the levels increase for Variety, his damaging abilities are just going to slowly chunk away from Baskin. And if he keeps getting poked out, yet again, he's with the Wrath and without the teleport, so he's going to start missing out some waves, and then he's going to start falling behind.
Left-hand side mid-camp's about to spawn. Obey placing down that Vulcan turret there with PrettyPriMe just to get some damage onto these and take them away. No one from Soar in the area, so there's some free farm for them. Red buff is up as well, and this is something Obey has really done well, and Soar has struggled with these last 2 games, is the farming game in between the fights.
Yeah, and I feel like Soar doesn't know how to play against the invades. We've seen this before, where they don't know how to play early game if, you know, something different happens or something is aggressive.
So now they want to engage onto PandaLike, finding the ultimate into the pull, but they don't really want to commit too hard. Andinster, though, lands into the sky, and PandaLike using his own ultimate, going to revive, but he's stuck in place. I'm a monster confirming the kill, and that's the advantage there in that matchup. No matter who gets revived, as long as Metyankey's passive enough to wait for the revival, he will always land it.
I'm loving Metyankey here on this Scylla, something he seems so much more comfortable with.
Absolutely. This is something that you need to have in your arsenal, just a comfort pick. And for Metyankey to be playing the Scylla, just waiting for the right proper setup. We saw the patience from him not using I'm a Monster during the engagement from Jigz and Sylvanus plays. You know, he found the ultimate into the pull, but he was waiting for Andinster's secondary initiation.
Yeah, and it feels like he knows how to play this character more than other characters. For example, his Janus, he got like 1 good sniper, and aside from that, what did he really do, to be honest?
He seemed like he was playing in more of a utility style than being in the faces of Obey trying to get off those unstable vortexes for damage.
Twig looking to pressure out Baskin here. Baskin just going to clear the wave fine. One thing I want to point out is that I think that's the first time I've seen PandaLike use a Khepri ult in both this game and the last one.
That's a good point that you make, though. They were winning so hard the last game from Obey that they didn't need to utilize the ultimate, or at least at a consistent basis. So now, already Soar making some small and minor adjustments. They're still struggling a little bit in the gold department, now extending that deficit to 1,000, but at least they haven't given up Gold Fury yet. But Obey yet again starting it.
They might be able to sneak this one away here before Soar can get there. The Wrath is going to do it. Soar late to the party yet again. Free Gold Fury there for Obey Alliance.
6 minutes in the game, reoccurring theme, Soar nowhere to be found. They capitalizing on the fact that Andinster's ultimate was on cooldown.
Twig, a little bit of trouble here, getting chunked down, but that great ultimate gives him the Hell Shield. There's the I'm a Monster, but Twig jumping away just in time there to avoid the damage from Metyankey.
And then again, it felt like Metyankey didn't know, or maybe he's not practiced against the Nike as well as, you know, other teams should have.
We see the dual lane though, Ataraxia trying to get off more damage onto Snoopy. PANDALIKE though in a little bit of trouble. He still has his ultimate. He could utilize it, but he took too much burst from Baskin. Andinster not wanting to go land anywhere besides the mid wave though. And that's a great little pickup for Soar. But the question is, what do they get out of this?
They could look to invade here. Baskin's actually going straight for the speed buff. CaptainTwig's just doing the back harpy. So a speed buff away from Obey Alliance and giving one towards Andinster. So valuable given the lack of buffs he's had.
And this is the difference that we see from the last game because Soar didn't really capitalize off of their first 2 picks. But now Jigz, though, in a little bit of trouble. Variety in the sky trying to get off the damage, but the sustain from the wisps is good. And now Twig falling to Baskin. Soar playing much better than the first game.
And for me, it's Baskin playing so much better than the first game. So much more involved in this game and just much better on this warrior Amaterasu than he was on Ratatoska.
Yeah, he's so much more comfortable on Amaterasu. He's played it multiple times in the SPL and he's played it at LANs before. I feel like he knows how to play that well, you know, perfectly.
Soar's going to have to be able to keep developing these small advantages because they can't allow Obey to keep getting these gold furies. This is the one thing that's going to allow Obey to really skyrocket.
Yeah, and that's what EU does well. They sneak gold furies, they have it warded, they keep the pressure, and this was yet again nowhere to be seen.
Dual lane though, still just a little bit of a farming fest between these two. Still level 11 at this point. Once we see some more items complete, I'm expecting more of an aggression between both of them. And then in the solo lane as well, Baskin just holding the wave outside the tower, not wanting to lose any gold.
A lot of farm there available for Variety, poking his head in towards their lane. They're looking to see the timer on the blue buff. Andinster's here though, so is the rest of Obey Alliance though to say their solo lane. A little bit of a skirmish, nothing too bad. Last game we saw the sustain on the side of Obey. This game we're seeing it on Soar, which is going to allow them more re-engagements.
And I like the positioning from Andinster being so far in the back, but engaged from Jigz and the Amaterasu not doing too much damage though to be able to find a kill though, but the blue buff was contested.
That was a great steal there from Obey. They used the Wrath to steal it away during the middle of the fight.
And that's going to allow a small lead because they don't have to worry about any sort of gold fury contention. They have the advantages now being grouped up 3-on-1 in the solo lane, getting this 500 gold, extending their lead.
Yeah, about this Nike again, I feel like CaptainTwig has practiced this hard. He jumped the Sylvanus ult just in time so he didn't get knocked up.
And now Snoopy, though, using that purification, he wants to be able to take this fight, forcing out the ultimate from Ataraxia, though. He could look for it, but now utilizing the Sanctuary just in time.
Ataraxia trying to take the 1v1, trying to run away now. Snoopy missed the Dark Portal there, or was sanctuaried away, I should say. Andinster up in the sky is looking for Ataraxia. No rewind available. Andy from the sky picks up Ataraxia.
And that's what Andy's going to need to do more of if he wants to allow Soar to get back into the series.
Is this a bit of a confidence booster for Andinster? You know, seeing him pick up a kill, a good gank in the duo lane?
Yeah, and it definitely is. And Chronos needs to be shut down early game, otherwise late game he's too potent and he'll do too much damage.
We saw what Freya was able to do at Ataraxia last game. He did have a little bit more support from PANDALIKE on the Khepri as well, so maybe this is going to signal Obey. It's like, all right, now it seems that Soar is playing a little bit more versatile. They're going to be looking to camp the duo lane with that Thor. Let's start looking more towards the left side of the map.
Yeah, it feels like they've definitely adapted compared to the first game against the Nike, against the Mage ADC yet again that they picked. And like I said before as well, this is the tank meta that Obey is playing.
Nice little knock-up to prevent the dash, but it's going to be Variety poked out. But now he's utilizing his ultimate, getting off 2 hits, but now utilizing the third one just to disengage. But Baskin is not going to let Variety get away.
Twig's diving the backline as well. Baskin, though, gets the stun off there. Twig, 1v3, but so much damage comes through. The crush from Metyankey picks up CaptainTwig. PANDALIKE looking to pluck Baskin here. Gets him in. Where's the damage? It's Mr. Vulcan. He picks up Baskin.
Both Twig and Baskin was in no man's land at that point in time. So trading 1 for 1. Baskin with a slightly longer cooldown to respawn. So now Snoopy, though, he did have an advantage out poking Ataraxia, which is going to allow him to steal away this red buff. So that's a small little marginal win.
This is just typical Chronos. Early game, he doesn't have any pressure until he gets his items online. I'm assuming that Ataraxia, sorry, will go for the winged one for more potent HP and the slow immunity.
So what do you think about this itemization choices, though, from Ataraxia, going for the Pythax piece, trying to synergize a little bit more efficiently with PrettyPriMe?
I feel like he's trying to sustain and get more cooldown online, but it's Ataraxia. I don't really...
He always has those, like, wild builds.
Yeah.
It's like, this is what works for me, and I'm going to stick to it, right? Yeah.
PANDALIKE pulled there by Jigz, no damage coming through. It's all onto PrettyPriMe instead. Dark Portal lands on to PANDALIKE. There's the knock-up, but it doesn't land. Andinster from the sky. Khepri ultimate is used to save the life of PrettyPriMe. Baskin around the back. Variety picks up Andy. Khepri ult runs out. So does the life of PrettyPriMe in a second. Ataraxia picks up Jigz. PrettyPrime's still alive. Baskin, though, manages to get the kill stun onto Twig as well, but he's no damage following up from him. He needs to run away. He's on the wrong side of the map.
He'll be fine. His aura will give him the movement speed that he needs to disengage, but it's a 2-for-1 so far in the favor of Obey. Goldfury is available, but not opting to go for it quite yet. Instead, pushing out mid, and now they want to utilize that advantage just to be able to bully Metyankey away from this tier 1 tower.
They should be able to do so. They've got the pressure. PANDALIKE, however, does need to back. A lot of wave clear does come out of the Scylla, however.
But look at this on the right-hand side. Baskin got a whole wave in onto that tower, and that's going to really help him out just to be able to get to that late game form. And look at this. Obey continued the pressure without minions, and now Baskin making the rotation.
Variety's jump is down for a couple more seconds, but not enough damage there for Soar to be able to take down the solo laner of Obey. Jigz is here, giving some health back to his mid laner. Ataraxia now starting to get some pressure on the left-hand side.
I feel like there's a lot of resiliency here now on the side of Soar as well, having Sylvanus onto Jigz. You know, last time we saw it was PrettyPriMe with the rod that had a lot of sustain, but Soar, we saw the matchup between Soar and Eager when they were flip-flopping between the Sylvanuses in that best of 5 set. So we're going to see like some really great late game presence now compared to the last game. Soar's in a position where, despite them being down a little bit of gold here, almost 2,000, their team fights is still really solid. They have the setup that they need from Metyankey, and they have the sustain from Jigz.
I feel like this is all up to PrettyPriMe to get like a really good ult off onto CaptainTwig's knockups. And if they can get that combo, then Soul's going to be in trouble. Jigz heals and his shell won't be able to save him from that.
They've already made strides and improvements from the last game. At this point in time, they already lost their second Gold Fury of the game, so at least they're keeping to Obey to at least 1. They're still being grouped up. They want to make sure that they don't lose any more Tier 1 towers, and they're going to try to hold this very weakened Tier 1, unless, maybe not.
They were very demoralized last time. I doubt it'll be the same thing again. Variety taking a lot of damage here. Let's take a listen in with Soar Gaming as they look to pressure out Obey from their tower.
We can engage up. Go to gold. Yes, go to gold. Push mid. He's so low though. I mean, I'm gonna hold though.
Yes, it'll take 2 seconds. Let's go to gold. I'm going low.
It's a good time to fight because Nike hasn't back for a second.
Go to gold.
They have hogs.
Just bait them in. Yeah, I have hog longer. Look at Khepri maybe?
Yeah, I'm looking for him. I have no words.
They just got the red. Can we burst? Burst. Nike jump. Nike jump.
I have a big ult.
Bolt it up.
I showed us.
I got it. Should we get out? Yeah, get out. Everyone out. We got gold. Everyone get out. We got gold. Yeah, we don't have
Defend left.
No, just get out.
We have ammo.
Okay.
Can we defend left?
Yeah,
We can. Are you good?
If he pulls me, we can kill him. If we pull me,
I'm not.
Very different Soar Gaming there. A lot more communication, a lot more confidence in what they were calling. And Baskin, particularly for me, very vocal, you know, almost taking over the shot calling duties. PANDALIKE forces the Khepri ult. He's going to be dead once he comes back down. Baskin picking up the kill yet again.
They're trying to find more kills. They got the Tier 1 tower. They're responding, though. The knock-up not in time to stop Snoopy from disengaging from that one. Twig, though, really low. Has to be careful, though. Backhand side, the Variety. He wants Metyankey. He finds 2. He finds the 3rd. He's not done yet. He's forcing out the Sanctuary of Snoopy. He's going to get the double kill. No, he doesn't. No, he does.
He has to jump in. Double kill for Variety, but there's no escape for him out of the pathing here. Obey the pull from Jigz. Variety still alive, and he teleports in. Spin to win.
That was worth it. He finds 2 kills. He buys enough time for the rest of Obey to grab the Tier 2 tower. They're walking away with at least something after losing that earlier Gold Fury, and that was a great job to get at least something in return.
Yeah, and you can hear Baskin in the comms. He feels confident. He knows he's ahead. He stole the Gold Fury as well after all that chaos with the hog.
And that was a really important play because we saw the ultimate from Metyankey during the middle of nothing, just completely whip that team fight, not able to take advantage of that. And then we saw earlier on, Jigz fell behind, and it was a 5-on-4 for Obey. They kept pressing and zoning out the members from Soar, starting that initial push on the left-hand side.
Yeah, and it feels like this Chronos hasn't done enough that he should have. And Snoopy got a great ult there. He tried to look for some silences. He tried to, you know, force a fight. And then when Baskin got the kill, you could hear him, when he got the Gold Fury, sorry, you could hear them in the chat, in the comms, just, you know, back out, get out, disengage.
Spectral armor. We rarely see this in competitive play. Fumble, what does it bring to the table? It's a bit of crowd control reduction, a bit of armor, but...
It has a little bit of everything, honestly, that you want at this point in time. It has the physical defense that you want. It gives you the mana. The crowd control reduction is really important at this time because you're dealing with a Thor that has great setup for the Scylla. If that seconds buys you enough time to survive the Crush or the Ama Monster, that's all you need.
Metyankey low here, forced into the Armor Monster. Oh, the minions blocked the damage there from PrettyPriMe. Chasing down Metyankey. Twig picking up the kill. There's the ultimate out of the Nike. Baskin taking some damage, but still going in. Trying to get the dazzling offensive off. Mr. Vulcan misses his ultimate. Weakening curse popped by Variety. He's looking for Snoopy. He gets him. Andinster is trapped with the Camazotz, and now he's running away. Obey Alliance running away with the game.
3, and now they're going to grab the tier 2 tower. Variety is just on a roll and a tear at this point. He's definitely doing a great job this whole weekend so far, this whole event. Yesterday, he was probably their MVP, and this game, he is just so scary playing this Camazotz.
Yeah, Mr. Harry Cummings, he got a great kill, he got a great pick, and he just kept, that's what won him the team fight there. They're going to get a fire gem for free. What can Andinster do?
The communication from Obey here is just so spot on because they recognize that the Sanctuary was down from Metyankey earlier on. Jigz was nowhere to be found to really keep up his mid laner alive, and now Obey are credited with the Fire Giant at the 17-minute mark. Obey can win this game and head into day 3.
It's crazy to think that Soar might fall down 2-0 here in the quarterfinals. Many saw them, you know, potentially going all the way.
This would be like the least standing result from Andinster. You know, he was the Season 1 World Championship. He lost to the semifinals to the defending World Championships, Epsilon. And now if they lose the quarterfinals, like, it's just progressively getting worse and worse for him.
Yeah, they lost in the semifinals, and now they could potentially lose in the quarterfinals. So
and this is just really exciting for all of Smite, honestly. Yeah. This means like everybody's just getting so much more together, top tier competitive play. Obey Alliance, honestly, like heading into Super Regionals, like a lot of people credit them out of it completely against the set against you guys.
Yeah, and we had a rough time, and Obey played really well. They knew their strats. They had strats to go into the LAN.
And they've been scrimming energy a lot from what I understand, so we're actually seeing a little bit of a similar playstyle come out from them. Started to see it's a tier 2 tower here. Andy around the back. Not going to even be able to contest this one.
No, not at all. That's going to be the last remaining tier 2 tower of the game, though. CaptainTwig jumping onto Snoopy, forcing the disengage for now. Still repositioning themselves is Obey. They want to start off with this middle Phoenix, but PANDALIKE getting pulled, getting rooted into place, forcing out Jigz's ultimate, though. The ultimate from PANDALIKE keeping him alive, but the Ama Monster securing that one.
Andinster up in the sky. They could look for a good re-engage here. He goes to Ataraxia. Rewind comes through. Vulcan ultimate comes down. Jigz is low. Variety picks up the kill. Baskin's low as well. Can he survive? No, he can't. Variety's got a double kill. Andinster's behind all of them. They're looking to pick up him as well. And then this could be game if the jungler's forced out.
2 for 1. And I like what Andinster is doing. He's trying to get them away from the middle Phoenix. They don't want that Phoenix to go down. He would rather sacrifice his life in the process there. But overall, Obey still getting the better end of that one, despite PANDALIKE dying first.
Yeah, one thing I want to mention is that Variety and Frezzy are both taunting. That's when you know they're confident. They feel like they can win easily.
They got the mid Phoenix. They're going for the left. They're up almost 10,000 gold. They're heading into the Titan room. Metyankey forced to go into the fountain. Snoopy falls. Obey aren't done yet. They're still lingering around. The question is, do they commit or do they go for this last Phoenix?
I'll pull in there to Ataraxia, forces the Sanctuary out from the ADC. Vulcan over the wall, doesn't hit the knock-up. Obey Alliance going more carefully now, recognizing there's still some solid damage on the side of Soar Gaming, looking for the right Phoenix now, actually just backing away.
They need to spend all that gold in hand. It was over 2,000 for PrettyPriMe. That's a lot at this point. Whenever you don't even have 4 fully finished items at this point, you're only a level 18 Vulcan.
Yeah, and Chronos can get tier 2 of Tahuti. He's going to start doing damage. This is where Chronos shined, and you saw him killing Baskin. He was dealing damage. That's That's what Obey needed. Variety got them back into that game with that right hand.
And at this point, with Fire Giant respawning in 2 minutes, they have enough time to back, wait for the Fire Minions to start flooding into the left, through the middle, and that'll give them enough of a leeway to really just get the next Fire Giant for free with their levels and gold advantage.
But this also gives Soar a leeway, and they're ready to go in, you know? This is what Soar needs as well. They need to take a break, see how they can win. They need to put Baskin on a certain characters and start forcing team fights.
So if you're Soar here, do you defend this next Fire Giant, or do you just worry and focus about pushing the left and middle?
I think you should start focusing on the Phoenixes. Just leave the Fire Giant. Don't bother about it for now. Let them have it. They're already ahead. If you look for a team fight, then you're probably going to lose it and lose the game after that.
PANDALIKE getting some poke off there, forcing away Soar. You were saying that they needed to push the waves out towards their Phoenix. Obey Alliance is having none of it. They're not even looking towards the Fire Giant. They're going for the right-hand side Phoenix here, looking to push in. Let's listen to Obey Alliance as they look to take the last Firebird.
Got a good ult. Scylla.
I'm shining all of us. Let's fucking go.
Oh, fuck.
I'm fine. I got you, Prime. Go ahead.
Sylvanus.
Silver low. Nice. Pull it back. Chase it back.
Phoenix, dude.
Yeah, just... Balls in the back still. I have pull in 2 seconds.
I need help. Press it.
I can't. I'm silent.
Fuck, shit. There I got.
Four beats.
Okay. 24.
Jigz on Snoopy.
Fuck. Just get
Lid's
up.
gonna push.
We need to defend fire, probably.
No, that Titan's gonna
yeah.
Get destroyed.
Yeah, fight them, dude.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to stop them back.
Push, go! Nice! One more. It's fine. They can't get fired.
Yep. Yeah, run to that Titan, dude. No, Jigz is animal.
Jigz.
They should have gone straight
Thor
to fire.
Thor is coming and die.
Oh, wait, you can't defend.
Are we winning?
They left the minions. The 5 minutes nearly in the game from Obey Alliance there. Soar just managed to get back in time, but the turnaround in that fight there, Soar hanging on by the thinnest of threads.
My heart right now is beating for a Soar game. That was so close. The Winions were almost there for the side of Obey, but they practically set up the game number 2 in a silver platter for Obey. All they have to do is just come in together and close this one out.
I wouldn't be surprised to just see them rush through a Phoenix and just end the game.
Do they go for fire here, or do they just close out the game?
I feel like they should just wait, definitely go for Fire, give them some more potential, and then go for the Phoenix, or they can backdoor. Perhaps they can backdoor with the Chronos. Chronos, at this point, he has no mobility, he has the ultimate.
They have the Khepri, they have the Chronos as well to buy a lot of time to absorb some abilities, but they're still trying to strip away some of the buffs, which is pretty important in a way. You don't want to give some more mobility on the side of Soar, any damage buff as well. Get all the advantages that you can. But now Andinster, though, trying to land and deter PrettyPriMe, though. He's getting caught up. There was no relics that were available. Great pickoff.
Huge pickup there for Soar Gaming. The Fire Giant's been started, but without that Vulcan damage coming out, it's going to be a lot harder for them to pressure down these Phoenixes. Fire Giant under 50% HP, under 25. Soar Gaming recognize we got to give this one up. We take the little victories we can.
And that's 40 seconds. That's going to allow the Titan to regain some health at this point. And that's going to be clutch for Soar to keep waiting and drawing out the game. But now Andinster, though, in the mid lane, getting caught up by Variety, but the rest of Soar is right beside him.
Variety forced into his ultimate, forced to run away. Baskin still diving between the towers here. Soar Gaming playing very aggressively. Baskin taking a lot of damage, but the sustain comes out from Jigz. And he's looking to back here maybe, or it's just a bait.
Just got to be very patient here. They don't want to keep pressing on with PrettyPriMe reviving in about 10 seconds. These team fights could last a long time. Despite not having sustain, they have the Fire Giant for that option.
So getting that peg onto the Vulcan allowed both Phoenixes to come back up. They can start getting HP, and the Titan can get HP. This is good for Soar. They need this time again.
They're down 8,000 gold, though. They still have Fire Giant on the side of Obey, 4 members, and that's going to be very scary to defend if you're on the side of Soar. Now, granted, you do have the damage from Metyankey, you have the sustain from Jigz, but I feel like at this point in time, you got to get off the perfect engage. I feel like you have to have 3-man crushes, 3-man I'm a monster hits here to win.
They've started to be bringing the game back. We can see the graphs here slowly starting to trend back upwards towards Soar Gaming. And do you feel that they've got a better late game composition given they have that Scylla?
I feel like they do. Metyankey got a great Sikkim, great into push, and he got the perfect ultimate you could get.
Obey Alliance looking to push down this middle Phoenix here. Jigz gets a one-man knockup. PANDALIKE in the back, though, looking to find Baskin, who dashes away. Vulcan ultimate comes through onto Jigz. Andy crashing down into Variety. Metyankey desperately trying to find a target, but immune there by PrettyPriMe. Metyankey in a lot of trouble. Variety trying to find the kill here. Diving onto Jigz here in the back line. Middle Phoenix falls down, looking like it's going to be Baskin who's the next target. PANDALIKE picks him up, and now the left-hand side Phoenix is a target for Obey.
I like what we saw to PrettyPriMe. He used that meatball as the Amaterasu was finishing off, getting off so much damage from Metyankey and knocking him up in the process. And now finding that one pick on the basket. And Snoopy going down 5-on-3 for Obey. They have Fire Giant on sub 4. They got 2 Phoenixes. They're going for the third. They're going for the second game and the wins to get into day 3.
Anderson knocked up there, jumped on by CaptainTwig. No, he can't even teleport away. Andinster falls down. Surrender vote has started. Soar Gaming gonna get 2-0'd here by the Obey Alliance.
Obey Alliance! They make it to day number 3. Great play from everybody involved. So excited for this European squad.
I'm so happy, you know, EU team finally getting into the semi-finals. Hopefully NLG can. I'm happy for my EU boys.
It's just been such a great run here by Obey Alliance, yet to lose a game here at the Smite World Championships. Analysts, talk to us about what Obey did right that game.
And Obey, out of nowhere, they are going to move on in the competition. I have to say, not a lot of people gave them the time of day coming into this tournament. You know, the talk was, Obey's a good team, but they're not that great of a team. Well, the proof is in the pudding, and they have a lot of pudding to share because they're going on to day 3. Okay, so let's just go ahead and start this off here. You guys had Obey going into it. You just felt like, despite Soar having a good draft, just the execution alone from Obey was enough for them to get that second victory. That's exactly what happened here. What were your major takeaways, Taco?
I think that overall, Obey's synergy was just on a completely different level than Soar's. I mean, you know, you have Soar coming out with the most recent roster swap and them saying, you know, we ran this in scrims, we felt a lot more comfortable with it. But Obey as a whole were just so completely on point with everything. And I mean, Variety. This guy has been playing phenomenally all 3 days, all 2 days so far, and I think it's only going to continue if he just keeps progressing the way that he has. He just seems like an unstoppable force right now in the solo lane.
This is the best I have ever seen Variety play, guys. He has been in this scene and he's been playing well for a while now, but I mean, this is a top-notch level for him. He's so aggressive right now, but also he's not dying. He's getting away with all these incredibly aggressive moves. One thing to talk about is Obey has so much momentum right now. They haven't dropped a game yet in this tournament. Soar coming through, they only won 1 game this tournament. They're knocked out now. The only game they had won was against INTZ, and they lost their last 3 games. That's a big momentum shift coming off of, you know, those losses compared to only winning.
And even that start there for INTZ against Soar, I keep bringing it back, but you got to take note of it. You know, this Latin American team, or excuse me, this Brazilian team had a lot to offer, and they came out very strong. Soar just wasn't expecting it. All right, we're gonna shift here because with Soar, I want to know, in hindsight, was the shift of Metyankey and Snoopy a good call to make? I mean, you said they felt very comfortable. This is what they wanted to do. But coming into the biggest event for Smite, right? Like, this is it. This is Worlds. And you shift major roles here from the mid and hunter. Was that like, did that cost him? Or am I just, you know, making things up?
Honestly, I don't think that the role swap really has as much to do with it as it just seems in an overall sense. Their communication, their synergy, it just isn't there. I don't think it would matter whether you role swapped anybody. They just don't seem like they're playing on par with each other. And throughout the season even, it seems like their comms and their synergy has only like deteriorated, unfortunately, for them. And I mean, I think the biggest showing of it was here. They just didn't look like the Soar that people knew and loved and expected to do well.
I agree. It seems that almost the roster change was an effort to try to get their synergy back. They knew they were losing their synergy with each other, so they said, you know what, let's mix it up and see if we can rekindle that fire that we had beforehand. but it just hasn't worked out for them. We saw Snoopy getting pretty much camped over in his lane those games. He wasn't really getting help from Andy or his support for that matter, and so he kind of got left alone. Snoopy got behind. That allowed Ataraxia to just get massively ahead in both games on late game carries.
Well, now Obey will be moving on to face off against Eager tomorrow. And Eager, they looked great in their matchup earlier against Hoppy. You know, not to take anything away from the Chinese team, but they were not the most challenging team for this first-seeded Eager roster. Whereas Obey really just looked dominant from yesterday to today. That matchup's going to be insane. Real quick before we toss it over to the stage, what are your thoughts about the Eager-Obey matchup that we're going to see tomorrow?
I think that we're looking at, I mean, this is going to be two massive teams from two regions coming at us, guys. But Obey has so much build-up right now and so much practice. Eager, of course, has a little bit of time on the main stage, but they don't have any practice against another, you know, what people were considering top-tier teams. Obey taking out Soar, one of the favorites in this tournament, is huge for them in terms of momentum and just general practice. They know what's working now on the main stage. They know what to be looking for. Eager hasn't had that, but at the same time, they're the #1 seed, and we know they have crazy strategies in their pocket.
There's definitely going to be a lot of tension in the arena tomorrow when it comes to that Eager-Obey match because, I mean, if I'm Eager, I'm definitely wary now, especially after seeing Obey take down Soar so easily.
Well, I want to know a little bit more about what makes Obey tick. So for now, we're going to send it over to the stage with an interview with the one and only CaptainTwig.
Yeah, make some noise for CaptainTwig, Obey. You guys are winners on the day. We saw you jumping up and down after the victory. Tell us, what does it mean for you to have that success right now?
It feels absolutely amazing. We considered Soar to be one of the best teams in America, and to beat them, it's kind of a statement. After we beat the other international teams yesterday, it just felt really amazing to beat top NA team.
So you said you weren't like excited for this interview, man. You're doing great. What's wrong? Why don't you like interviews?
I just hate interviews. I'm so nervous.
He doesn't look nervous. You don't look nervous, man. You look fine. You're cheery, you're smiling, you're lovable. That's what people like to see. I know we walked in the hallway. Going into the semis, you said it's so much better here for what happens when you're here at HRX when you win. First year, you guys made it all the way to semis. And then next year, you were kind of knocked out early. Now you're in the semis again, looking to make it to finals. How's your team feeling? How's the morale?
My team's feeling extremely excited. We haven't had to show many strats off at all. I've played one god the whole tournament so far. So we're really excited to show how much we can do with other comps. And yeah, we're super excited to take the whole thing, hopefully.
Awesome, man. You know, one of my favorite moments with Twig, you can give that a round of applause. One of my favorite moments with Twig, he stops me in the hallway. He says, "Is that Rain Day? Man, I watch your Paladins content." I'm like, oh man, this is too much. I got Twig fangirling over here. I love you, dude. Have a great time. Thank you so much for the interview. For now, we're gonna throw it over to the ballroom and see what they've got going for us and catch us up on the day.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to the HRX Ballroom. I am here with the one and only Dry Bear. Behind us was some Paladins, but they have gone to a short break. Yesterday we had an amazing game, a day of games. Do you want to run the people at home through it if they maybe missed out on all the fun?
Sure, we were going through the group stages yesterday. There's a couple highlights there, obviously, at the very end of the night last night. If you guys didn't see it, we saw District 69 up against Match Point. Really close, really exciting, some of the best players in the world going in. And then coming today, we actually had a match that I think shocked everyone here, anyone who was watching. We ended up having Abyss from Australia take on Team Eager, and Abyss won. It was a 3-0 victory. Every match was pretty close, but we saw some Knessa plays coming out. So Knessa fans out there, if you're watching, she is being played on some maps. But the fact that Australia took down Eager is pretty exciting.
Nice, nice. Speaking of exciting matches, last night, or this morning rather, Stu said that the District 69 match point game was probably the highlight of the day. Are you looking forward to any other games like that today? Maybe some exciting matchups?
I'm looking forward to seeing more out of Abyss, obviously. We saw QG yesterday too, so you know, seeing the other regions is pretty exciting. Match point and D69 I think is the highlight. I think Stu's right on the money for that. I think people are expecting them to be the final two, but as we've seen today in this last matchup, that may not be the case.
And with the semis tomorrow on the main stage, I know you guys have some really exciting announcements in store. I tried to get you to tease some yesterday. You wouldn't give me much. You may be feeling a little looser, maybe now that I'm a little taller for you.
Yeah, I got one button down today, so it's a little bit more open. We are going to be showing off a new map tomorrow. We also going to be talking about some new skins that are coming into Paladins and some other cool stuff.
Nice. Do you have any things that you can maybe tease for the new season for our viewers at home?
We are looking at the card system, so reworking that. Could be bigger, could be smaller. We're still working on the details internally. We're also looking at some of the tweaks for existing champions that haven't had much love up until now, like Grok maybe, or Grover. And also looking at the item system to see if some of those cards can be reworked. Aggression's a big one. The healing row of the items is also another big one for us that we're working through. And then the Blast Shields, Haven, Cauterize, those kind of cards that are items that feel just a little bit too required, and we don't want any of the items to be required, so we're looking at the whole system.
Nice. So speaking of champions, we've seen a huge variety of champions coming out of these games. All but one.
Yes.
Which one is it?
It's Grok. Grok. Yeah, we saw Tyra yesterday. We saw Sky yesterday, actually twice. Knessa came in today. Those are kind of the surprising ones, and obviously we've seen every other champion up until Grok. So if we get a Grok today or the next few days, then it'll be a full 20.
A full Monty. Are there any champions that you are surprised are being underplayed this tournament?
Not too much. I think the meta was pretty stable coming into the tournament, and I think most of the teams kind of expected that. There is enough flex there, so a lot of times in the support role you'll see Maldamba or Grover or Ying, depending on your comp, and the map changes a lot of it too. Sometimes you'll play Bomb King on maps like Juggler Falls, but when the map starts to open up some and Bomb King gets punished, you don't play him as much. Drogo's specific maps that he's pretty good at too. Serpent Beach in some cases, we saw that yesterday. So it all depends on the setup, what team you're going up against, and what your team comp is, but nothing has been too surprising to me so far.
And usually with lands, there typically comes a land meta where there's some surprising picks that just keep coming back and coming back. Has that happened at all?
Not as much as we were thinking. Knessa did come in today, and obviously she's a little bit easier on land. Drogo's yesterday was also something that I'd expect to be played on land, mainly because all these players are playing with no latency, right? Everything's instant, everything's reactionary. So having a character like Drogo's where the rocket comes out as soon as you shoot and everything's kind of very reliable is pretty strong. So hope to see more of them today.
Right. Obviously, they're playing for a pretty big prize pool, especially for the first invitational, but they're also playing for a really sick trophy. I think even compared to the Smite one, it's really beautiful. How is that seeing that come to life? Because obviously it's in the key art for the digital loot pack on all of the cards. What was it like? Have you held it? Have you gotten to touch it yet?
I actually slept with it last night, like a teddy bear.
But I don't remember that, and I was there.
Exactly. It's been awesome, and obviously we have a couple cosplayers here, a couple of the ones that are here at the event, and then some fans that came in and cosplay. We saw Ying, Fernando, and Knessa all here, so it's very surreal to see some of the things you've been working on come to actual life, right? I told that to specifically Ying and Fernando, because he just looks like a giant, massive knight. And the trophy the same way, because obviously the trophy, if you guys haven't seen it yet, has the crystal on it, and it kind of has the nice kind of metal wrapping that is very Paladins-esque. So it's pretty exciting to see those things that, you slave over, and sometimes these things can take months for us to work on. There's a lot of discussions, a lot of work between all the departments and disciplines on the Paladins team, figuring out how to make it happen. And once it finally does, we kind of forget about it for a while, but then we realize, actually, that's there, and people love it, and it comes to life.
Right, and I have heard a rumor that the crystal might detach from it, and that's what people will hold up, which might be pretty cool. Oh,
my name is hi-rez Pretty Hair.
Looks like Pretty Hair is getting started with Crep behind us. So I think we might also take it back to the ballroom, and we'll be right back after this break.
I could watch Joel's play Kinessa.